I am Gary Parrish. Welcome back, CBS Sports Eye on College Basketball Podcast, where we sometimes discuss Campbell fighting dodo birds and leaky black. Matt Norlander is here with me. If you're watching live on YouTube, be Brandon Davey. Smash if you haven't yet. Subscribe to the CBS Sports Eye on College Basketball Podcast. Please go do that wherever you subscribe to podcasts like Apple and Spotify. Let's get into it. I want to start at Allen Fieldhouse, where the matchup between the teams with the two freshmen expected to go first and second in the 2026 NBA draft was kind of a letdown. Darryn Peterson was special early, and then he was sidelined again for most of the second half with what was described as cramps. Barely played in the final 20 minutes. A.J. Debonsa was good, but not great and slow to get going. Either way, Kansas wins the game. 90-82, beats BYU. It was number 14 over number 13, according to the AP poll that we'll update on Monday. But the story, once again, it is Darryn Peterson watching a second half unfold. Norlander, good to see you on this Sunday. Can you remember anything quite as, let's just say, weird as the Darryn Peterson freshman season to date?
We got a busy chat, by the way. I'm going to remind everyone, if you're watching this in real time, if you're late, just smash that like button if you could. Let's get those likes up here on a live Sunday show. Yeah, we're going to start as we should, because busy weekend, a lot to get to. This certainly feels like the biggest story of the bunch, and there's even a ton to get to within the game, Parrish. But you want to just talk all the Peterson stuff first, and then get to the game and everything that played out. You want to just get to the heart of the matter with Darryn Peterson, then just get to the other stuff after that?
Yeah, I mean, the explanation is the same as it's been consistently. Like, he felt something in his quad and seemingly removed himself from the game. Bill Self said afterwards, like, listen, he's doing everything he's supposed to do, but his body is responding in this way sometimes, and sort of it sounds like it's just a shrug of the shoulders. It is what it is until it's not. But we're 21 games into this thing, and this has been the defining pattern of his freshman season so far.
It has. And, I really wanted to hop on this show on Sunday night in the midst of that first half, looking like Kansas was going to cruise to a win. Now, it got the win. BYU threatened. And again, we'll get to that in a few minutes on just the actual gameplay and what played out there. But, I'm not thrilled to be talking about this. It just never ends. The twists with Darryn Peterson continue to twist. This dude looked like he could have put 30 on almost any NBA franchise on Saturday. It was his best performance. That dunk in traffic when he should have gotten the and one was a top 3 play of the season. And he's coming off of the ankle twist. He looks otherworldly. And in that moment, and as the first half played out, Debonsa didn't even take a shot until 7.5 minutes into the first half. It looks like Peterson is asserting himself. I am the guy. I am the number 1 pick. And for many people, he very much still is. But I'm going to be interested to see, again, maybe this is the last time we ever have to talk about this on this podcast, or at least until draft season. I really hope it is. But I would truly be interested to see and hear from the 30-plus NBA personnel, high-level scouts, general managers that were on hand. Is this not entering into the calculus at all? He looks incredible, but he's not finishing games. Here's the breakdown between first half and second half for Peterson, who has effectively played 10.5 games this season out of Kansas's 21. He's averaging 16.5 minutes in the first half, 10.2 in the second half. He's averaging 13.8 points through the first 20 minutes of the games he's played in on average, just 7.5 in the second half. Rebounds, 3 to 1.5. Assists, 1.5 to just 0.3, in addition to his field goal percentage numbers being better in the first half than they are in the second half, and his availability just not being there. I have to just invoke what I couldn't help but notice as I watched the game, and I'm going to be directly clear about this, and I know Kansas fans, some of them might even push back on this. I don't know what's happening here with Darryn Peterson. All I can tell you is this. When he went out for the second half, and then we found out after the game that it was due to cramps, that may well be true. I'm not even disregarding that it is true. However, Parrish, you and I, how many times past 10, 15, 20, 25 years have we watched players cramp up in games? And what do you typically see when that happens, particularly if it's a player of note? You see massive hydration. You see grimacing. You see potentially trying to down some sort of a banana or some sort of a food that'll get you going. You'll see trainers actively trying to assess the situation to get you back in the game. Not always can a player get back in the game. What did we see Parrish on Saturday before we knew that it was cramps as it continued to play on? What did we see on TV on Saturday?
Like nothing. It looked like he'd fouled out of the game.
Correct.
Like he's just sitting there.
I am not saying that I don't believe he didn't have cramps. What I am telling you, and what anyone who watches this sport on a daily, weekly, monthly basis will tell you, that if a player of real note has cramps, usually the cameras cut away, and that is not what you see. Now, Kansas was up big. It has won without Darryn Peterson. It has been in this spot before. BYU made a massive charge, and given that he has had tenderness, hamstring, now with the quad, the ankle seemed fine. I get it. I can't remember anything like this. I can't get enough of Darryn Peterson, and he won't give us any more. It's completely wild. It wound up not biting them because BYU did really, for a minute, like, I didn't ever think it was going to win the game, but it got to this point where it was going to be in some doubt. And nonetheless, KU gets out of it. We'll talk about their next game before we get out of the show here, but it's just weird. I don't know what to say. I want to see as much of this player as possible, and this has become one of the 3 or 4 biggest storylines in the sport this season.
I'm not going to question the young man's I'm not going to question his body. If he's saying he's feeling something that he shouldn't be feeling, who am I to argue with that? But it would bother me if I were a Kansas fan, and concern me if I were somebody else.
Yeah.
That you don't even look like you want to get back in the game. If it were, I'm projecting here, but if it were me and I'm like, Jesus, it's happening again. And now that my team's lead is slipping away, you would see me on the bench with like my hand up trying to, hey, get him over here, get him working on me, do something. And you don't see any of that, or at least it's not coming through on the television. And that would concern me. I will take you at your word that you can't play. I don't understand why you don't look like you're trying to get back in that game. I don't get that part.
And a lot of folks were saying like this end, if not ended it definitively swung the momentum one player over the other. And again, after the season, we'll have plenty on Peterson, DeBonson, anyone else for the number 1 pick. But for the purposes of this, I mean, this is the other bummer of it. This is the only time these 2 players are scheduled to meet in their college careers. They would have to meet in the Big 12 tournament. There's no guarantee of that. There's obviously, it's even further and longer odds that they would actually find a way to meet each other in the NCAA tournament. So it just stinks that we had all this hype, man. It felt like, that was the way that game landed on Saturday, just with the schedule. There really wasn't a secondary game that was worth having up in the multi-view on YouTube TV or in the quad box. That was a standalone, let's lock in right now. Social media was buzzing about it. And Peterson starts off on fire. It's incredible. DeBonsa was off to a slow start, and then BYU makes the big comeback, and it's not because of DeBonsa, while Peterson's on the bench. And to me, I'm just not there on like, it's got to be Peterson one no matter what. Very different players, extremely different situations, but the only hangup, the only one that plagued Zion Williamson when he was the no doubt about it number 1 pick was what about the injury concerns with his body, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of that has proven to be true. Now, Peterson's issue is different, but I am not yet there. And I'm the guy who in the preseason, I voted for Peterson as my national player of the year. I put him number 1 on the best players in college basketball on our annual preseason list, ahead of the likes of a proven guy like Braden Smith. I just have to see more. I don't see why this wouldn't concern you at some sort of level. If you're an NBA general manager, especially in a class that is just, we're going to get to Keaton Wagler in a second. This dude is like vaulting into the top 5. It's insane how much freshman one and done talent there is. I am not at a place where I know some people are, and that is like, oh no, Peterson is the guy. It's got to be him. The talent, I agree with you. It's obvious, but we're not going to take into some sort of stock with some of these red flags through the first, we're about 60% of the way, 65% of the way through the season. I don't know. It's wild. Toss me your other thoughts, and then I want to talk a little bit about the game before we keep the pod.
Yeah. Just last thing on this. If I were running an NBA franchise and we had the number 1 pick and we were drafting tonight, I would still take Darryn Peterson. Buddy, when he's playing, it does almost look like a no-brainer. when he's playing, it does almost look like as great as DeBonsa is, as great as Boozer is, as great as Caleb Wilson is, you name whoever you like, that's got to be the guy. You can't pass on that guy when he's playing. And I'm going to trust that's still what you're getting long term, but I don't like this. If I were an NBA general manager and we were going through this process, these are conversations I would want to have with him. So that BYU game, you were cramping, huh? Right. It didn't look to us like you were trying to get back into the game. Why? Again, just projecting, but you would have to see me go. I would get back on the court, and then you'd have to see me cramp up again, and I'd be like, all right, I can't go, but I gave it a try. You would see me. I couldn't just sit there like that. I don't think. And this isn't one of those things where, so the sports writer doesn't like. Most basketball players wouldn't just sit there like that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Most basketball players, when they are quote cramping, do not just sit on the bench like that. They are getting treated. They are grimacing. They are trying to do something to get back into the game. And you just don't see that with him. And that would, I don't want to say it would concern me, but it would bother me if I were a Kansas fan, and it would at least be something I'd want to talk about, because sometimes when you are trying to distinguish between elite talents, like the top 1%, it can come down to this stuff right here, above the shoulder stuff. Like how bad do you want it? How are you wired? What motivates you? And I'm not questioning any of that stuff. I'm just saying I would like when the camera goes over to that bench, see him over there looking like he's mad and frustrated and doing everything he can to get back out there and play. And there doesn't seem to be that urgency to it at all.
Self also told, and credit the Field of 68, they had him on late Saturday. He said he thought it might have been a conditioning issue. He twisted the ankle. He really gave it a full go on Thursday, and even then he was a little bit gassed. Maybe that is the case tomorrow night, Monday, on the road against Texas Tech. We'll get to that before we get out of here. Let's keep it moving. Just talk about the game here, because there's a lot here as well. DeBonsa, 17 points. Again, slow start, only 1 rebound. I wasn't surprised that he wasn't necessarily hunting early. And I thought Kansas actually, self credit to them, they did a wonderful job, I think, scouting, evaluating. Flory Badunga had an awesome game. I want to talk about all the other guys on Kansas's roster as well in this. The 1,000th game, by the way, at Allen Fieldhouse, 878 and 122 is that program in that building since the late 1950s. No surprise that Kansas would win on a night like that with a big round number there. And the environment to kick off the game just seemed incredible. Richie Saunders winds up being the guy whose draft stock got the biggest bump of anyone in the building. 33, the majority in the second half, also had 10 rebounds, a pair of steals, 11 of 19 from the field. He shot BYU back into the game. It became, and Elmarco Jackson also got banged up. He wasn't able to play in the second half, and not having those two, Kansas fans, Bill Self, the staff, they were having flashbacks to a couple years ago when they were just down so many guys. If the game had been 44 minutes, maybe they don't get out of it, but it was a 40-minute game and they get it done there. I give a ton of credit to Richie Saunders, who's an excellent player. And we've talked about Texas Tech before. I'm just going to unload the clip here, GP, and then you take it wherever you want. We've talked about Texas Tech being a team that could have 2 All-Americans on its roster. BYU is not that far behind. Like between DeBonsa, who I think is still a first-team All-American, and Saunders, he is cruising in on a crowded field of 15 guys. I feel like there are 30 dudes that are in this conversation right now. Saunders was tremendous there. Kansas in the first half, 9 of 12 from beyond the arc, led 53-33. ESPN Stats and Information said that the 53 points were the tie for the most ever in the first half that Kansas had ever put on a ranked team under Bill Self. That's outrageous. The team, Kansas, finished 11 of 22 from three-point range. 5 players scored in double figures, and Badunga was just awesome in general. Melvin Council Jr. had moments in the second half. It's almost like he goes up a switch or two once Peterson is on the bench. I do love this thing that he has cultivated with that Kansas fan base, where just, he calls himself, he's got that dog mentality. He's got 5,000 students just barking at him. I think that is awesome, and really a good rallying cry for that program. And then Bryson Tiller, that's the freshman we got to talk about here. Career high 21 points, 8 of 13 from the field, 3 of 5 from beyond the arc, 7 boards. He really showed up in a big time way. Extremely impressive for everything about Peterson that wasn't there in the second half. They just had guys step up left and right, and we have not seen, like, Kansas right now, Parrish, is 16-5, 6-2 in the league. It's won 5 in a row. That winning streak started with the home win. That, no doubt about it, Iowa State victory. They really might have something here. Like if this can be the last time, please let it be the last time we talk about Peterson not being able to finish a game. If it can, and they put it together, yeah, then we've got a real situation with Kansas and how dangerous it can be if Peterson can even be like 85% of what he was on Saturday. And then the last thing, it's BYU. And then seriously, take it where you want. BYU right now, 0-4 versus top 15 teams this season, has faced significant deficits this season against UConn, Clemson, Arizona, was down 17-4 to Delaware, down 10 in the first half to Dayton, was at one point up 61-52, and that flipped to being down 84-69 in the loss against Texas Tech, in addition to the stuff against Kansas. To me, the loser, and I thought this going in, the loser of this game takes an image hit. BYU right now, it's 17-4. That's a good record, but it does not have high-end wins. Now, it's still going to have more opportunities, but to this point, okay, Nova, Wisconsin, Miami on a neutral, solid. Those are good wins, but it does not have the top-end heft, and it's going to have to reverse that if it wants to avoid being a 5, 6, or even a 7 seed on Selection Sunday. Floor is all yours.
Yeah, I mean, Richie Saunders was obviously among the stories, and he'll have that forever. Like, there's forever going to be a story he'll get to tell wherever his life goes from here. It was the last day of January 2026. I was in a game, top 2 picks in the draft were in it too, and I was the one that went out and got 33. And obviously, he was getting a lot of NBA buzz. You saw that on social media yesterday. Obviously, he can shoot it, and that's never been valued more than it is right now at the NBA level. He is also 24 years old already, and that's the type of thing that will work against him. But he looks the part. He looks the part, and I do think, however he gets to that league, you'll look up one day and he'll be making shots in that league, and probably for years to come. He was terrific inside Allen Fieldhouse. That's an all-time story for him. Up next for Kansas. Oh, it's a quick turnaround. So we'll have some Darryn Peterson. Well, I mean, we'll get to do this again real quick at Texas Tech on Monday night. Up next for BYU at Oklahoma State on Wednesday. Up next, let's stick in the Big 12, where Arizona remained undefeated this weekend with a double-digit win at Arizona State. We'll do that next. First, though, let's get a word from our partners.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
Final score, number 1, Arizona 87, Arizona State 74. I like to keep the conferences somewhat tucked together here, so we'll stick in the Big 12, which is where we started. The Wildcats are now 22-0 overall, 9-0 in the Big 12, unanimous number 1 in the AP poll. Anything new to say about Tommy Lloyd's program? I just wanted to be respectful here and get to him quickly.
Yeah, we can get to him quickly. I've got a couple of quick nuggets here. 22-0, first time in school history, best start, and it's starting to look like – and there's been some good Arizona teams. There have been some quality Arizona teams over the past 2 decades. This might be the best one since the Final Four crew in the early 2000s. We can dive more into the nostalgia in episodes to come here. And Arizona's it's in February. There are just some major games coming. They've had some. They've got even more. But credit to them. This is only the second Big 12 team ever. Now, the Big 12 started officially in 96. It was the Big 8 before then. So since 96, only 2 teams have won 22 in a row. This one and the 96-97 Kansas team, Paul Pierce, coincidentally enough, on hand on Saturday at the Fog. That team was outstanding and coincidentally enough got knocked off in the tournament by the Arizona team that was a 4 seed and won the national title. Arizona State is 2-9 all-time against number 1 ranked teams, has never defeated a number 1 ranked Arizona team. It's now lost 10 in a row to ranked opponents. This is going to be it for Bobby Hurley. His contract ends at the end of the year. Everyone basically knows it at this point. They're just unfortunately playing out the string. They actually were competitive for a majority of this game, but one of the things you hate to see if you're an Arizona State fan, like it came through the TV, like near the end, they're playing in Arizona State's building, and what do you hear? U of A.
Yeah.
U of A. Got overtaken in their own building. Not much you can do about that. We can keep it moving. UCF over Texas Tech. Now we're getting to it nice and early here, folks, because that was a pretty notable result. You might say that might not have been a top 5, top 6, top 7 outcome of the weekend. I don't know, man. 17-4. This is the best start for UCF since 2003, 2004. That team went 22-5 GP in the regular season. It was in the A-Sun. It got a 14 seed. This team is not going to be a 14 seed. It has multiple wins against top 20 opponents in a season for the first time since 18-19. The second Zion Williamson mentioned on the show because that UCF team almost knocked out that Duke team with Zion in the second round. That was an 8 seed back then. I'm interested to see where you have UCF right now. If you have them at all in your rankings, I honestly don't know. I want to learn in real time on the show because I looked this up a couple hours ago. Despite the good record, average predictive team sheet metric right now, GP, 45. Not viewed as a team that is a threat to win multiple games in the NCAA tournament. It doesn't. It's actually similar to Arizona in that it doesn't take a lot of threes, but it's pretty good from beyond the arc there. Just 6 of 13 in this game, got it done nonetheless. Only had 11 fouls. I watched the majority of this game. Kind of like the Space U Blue Unis. I feel like that mojo helped him out all the more. And they killed Texas Tech on the offensive boards. Grant McCasland's team only had 4 offensive rebounds. I guarantee you that's going to be like the number 1 or number 2 thing. If they practice today, I figure they probably got something in, like a big time talking point, getting ready to turn around and play Kansas. What were your thoughts on the outcome, either with UCF or TTU, topping at 27-10, Christian Anderson at 17-9? No one else could do enough to get the win for the Red Raiders on the road.
Okay, I'm going to give you my actual thoughts. First, I agree. I like the uniforms. My prevailing thought was when I'm watching it, and you just see the students in the crowd and Johnny, and it just was a reminder of how much conference affiliation can just change everything with your university.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like,
I completely agree with this. Yes.
Here was my prevailing thought watching this game. It broke my heart. It broke my heart because I'm
what we're gonna say. We're like 45 minutes removed from Memphis losing at home to Tulane.
Yes.
Final 5 seconds. I hear you. I know.
I mean, just a straight drive to the rim. I mean, what are we doing?
Preseason player of the year, all the same. But yes.
So it like just take a snapshot of UCF on Saturday and a snapshot of Memphis on Sunday. Like these programs used to be in dramatically different places.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And now UCF is storming the court after beating Bill Self and the Kansas or Grant McCasland and the Texas Tech Red Raiders.
They've done that too.
I know. Yeah, right. That's my point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Memphis is losing to Tulane in the 10th rated conference in America in front of a nothing crowd. It's just rough. And so I couldn't help but think of that when in all seriousness, happy for UCF, obviously. But man, I remember when we were looking down at you guys. I remember when we used to look down at you.
Yeah, now they're up in space, peering down below to you.
It's rough.
You would rather be. It is sad, and we can keep it mostly to UCF, but I'd like to play to GP's alma mater. It is a brutal state of affairs that you would so much rather be UCF right now than Memphis, and that would unthinkable as recently as 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's a mess. On UCF, I do not have them in the top 25-1, largely for the reasons you referenced, but I did consider them and looked at everything you looked at. So 37th in the net, 45th at KenPom, but 20th in strength of record. So you can do it if you want to. They are 17-4. 3 of the losses are Arizona, Iowa State, and Vanderbilt. I mean, those are all teams that have been ranked in the top 5 at one point in this season. The only questionable loss is at Oklahoma State, but even that's a quadrant 1 loss because it was on the road and Oklahoma State is 66th in the net. So wins over Texas Tech, Kansas, Texas A&M, the team that's first place in the SEC.
Yes.
I'm just spitting it all out here because we haven't really talked about UCF too much. Riley Kugel, if you're not paying attention, is the leading scorer. 3rd school for him, 2nd conference for him. Only had 9 against Texas Tech, but broadly speaking, he's having the best season of his college career, 14.8 points per game, shooting 40% from 3. Just a terrific story. Johnny, a little bit like Bobby Hurley, entering this season, there ain't nothing really left on the contract, buddy. You better have a good year or else. And 17-4 through the first 21, you take that every day.
Without question, they could be staring down some losses here upcoming. You've got Houston on the road on Wednesday, whatever. 17-4, it's a huge win. A lot of people in the industry thought Dawkins was going to be out last season. He wasn't, got another year, and good for him. This is wonderful to see. jury's still out on UCF, what damage it can do in the tournament, whatever. This is the win, man. You're 17-4. You're in the NCAA tournament picture right now. See if you can hold on to it. And what you mentioned with A&M, it's a great point. That and the Vandy game at home, those were games that in November did not flare the radar whatsoever. They are just reminders that these games in November, they might not log as the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or maybe not even seventh most interesting game on a given day that early in the season, but they can come to have amazing amounts of value once we get to this part of the season, let alone March. So very intrigued by that, and good on UCF. We'll see if it can win more than it can lose in the back half of its schedule. It's got some favorable stuff here. I think that it will, and I think that they're going to wind up. I still believe in them a lot. Themis Folks has been like, he was one of the more underrated players in the country, honestly. He's been big as of late. Like, they've got a real chance if they can peel off one or two wins that maybe they're not expected to. They'll have a single digit next to the name, and I dare them to wear the Space U unis in the NCAA tournament. They probably won't, but that would be fantastic if they opted to do so.
Like you mentioned, up next for UCF at Houston on Wednesday. Good luck with that. Then at Cincinnati. So this week, at least, they're going to feel like they're in the American all over again. Up next, we're going to do the weekend whip around. We're going to start in the Big Ten. We're going to start at what happened Sunday afternoon inside Pinnacle Bank. But first, let's get another word from our partners.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars. What a difference she has made.
The question is, can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric.
Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
Final score, number 9, Illinois 78, number 5, Nebraska 69. Look who just walked into Pinnacle Bank. It's Keaton Wagler and his Eastern European pals just walking straight into Pinnacle Bank and getting a win. Fun game on a Sunday afternoon. Nebraska coming back to earth just a little bit.
Yes, a couple of notable games on Sunday. This is obviously the most recent one to finish, and let's dive right in. As a function of the win, Illinois, let me make sure, I had this in my notes. I think this is the case. Let me fact check myself in real time. I think now Illinois and Michigan are tied in the Big Ten race. Yes, both are 10-1.
Yep.
And both top 5 teams, obviously. Michigan, we'll get to the Wolverines in just a second. Now back at number 1 again with KenPom. Them in Arizona keep volleying back and forth. Keaton Wagler, again, outstanding. Final 78-69 until 5 minutes to go. This was a tremendous game. Nebraska wasn't at full strength. Now, Braden Frager did return. He looked good. Rink Mast had to go to the hospital for fluids because of the flu. He played in the game.
He was not right, though.
He was 40% at capacity.
Yeah.
But he gave it a go and played 26 minutes. I give him credit for that. It was a big-time game. Illinois, of course, avenges its loss. And not only that, Parrish, I got some nuggets for you here. Illinois has, first of all, this is only the third top 10 matchup in Nebraska's history. The second was earlier this week against Michigan. If you're a Nebraska fan, you're just not used to having this all the time. You lose 2 in a row, but they are top 10 matchups. It can be tough to swallow. I get all that. Nebraska's going to fall out of the AP top 10. We'll predict that before we get out of the end of the show. Still good stuff all around. You weren't at full strength, and you split with Illinois. You would have taken that at the start of the year. Illinois has now won 11 in a row, longest ever under Brad Underwood. Longest winning streak since it started 12-0 to begin the 2012-13 season. And Illinois' last loss came against Nebraska. Remember, Jamarcus Lawrence hit that 3-pointer on the road with less than a second to go, which really flared and popped Nebraska onto the radar in a major way. Wagler was awesome again. Yes. I mean, he is a joy. He's like at worst a second-team All-American right now, and he is on a rocket ship. He is phenomenal to watch. He had 28, 5, and 5 with a pair of steals in this one. So Wagler leads the team in scoring. He's at like 18 a game after this one, and assists, 4.2 a game, and 5 boards a game. That's awesome. He's averaging 25 a game on the road this season, Parrish. He's been outstanding, and a number of reasons why Illinois was able to win. Price Sanford had been hot, like 20 plus with regularity as of late. He only had 14 here, so they were able to stop him there as well. Good performance all around from Illinois, but Wagler remains the story and is just the rare case. I was talking with Will Warren on Blue Sky during the game about this. He thinks that Will Warren does a great job covering college hoops, does some stuff for Basket Under Review in addition to his own stuff. And he thinks that he might be that Wagler, who was not a 5-star, not a 4-star, 3-star, they said it on the broadcast, where Brad never even saw him play in person, came from Kansas. Is he the biggest miss in terms of
Yes,
and just in terms of this framing? He's a freshman. He's going to become a one and done. He's going to be a lottery pick, and almost nobody recruited him. Like I just in terms of pure one and done, he's near the top of the list. It's an amazing story. It continues for Illinois, which is now 18-3 and has the best offense in college basketball.
I mean,
I don't know who the next one would be. I need to go back and look over the past 25 years.
I mean, Trey Burke was a pretty good one.
But he wasn't a one and done. That's the whole point.
Right.
Like, who was a one and done? This dude was not even a projected starter potentially, and now could he go 5th in the draft? It's an awesome deal.
Okay, so I can't grab the player's name right now, but there was somebody within the past few years, because I just remember writing in mock drafts over and over again and saying on HQ over and over again and he's on track to be the first sub 50 one and done lottery pick.
Chat knows in real time. Help us out here. I've been so busy with stuff I haven't dove into.
So I believe there have been sub 50 one and done lottery picks and even maybe a sub 100, but I don't think we've seen this. I don't think a sub 150 prospect, one and done, leading a power conference school in scoring and about to be a top 10 pick, because he is everything they look for at the next level. I mean, jumbo size guard who can play with ball screens, but also knock down a shot at an incredible rate. I mean, he's the deal. He's the deal, and clearly nobody saw this coming, because he would have had different offers if anybody would have seen this coming.
Yeah, it's just one thing. It's one great thing after another with this season, where there's either team play, storyline. There's just stuff across the board, like a few mid-majors that we'll get to before we get to the end of the show. Teams with really, really good records, and then you get Wagler. Coming into the season, Thomas Lafavicic was expected to be the team's best player, with the idea that maybe Big Z could be good. Merkovich had plenty of good buzz. And to be clear, Underwood was talking up Wagler in the preseason. And I think we're about the point where everyone understands it's Wagler and not Wagler. I think we crossed that threshold in the past 7 to 10 days. But even Stojakovic coming aboard, he was expected to be a guy that popped. It's awesome to see. It's made all the more interesting by, and this is not a shot, just is what it is. He looks 14 years old. He's this incredible player, and he looks young for a freshman. Love to see it. Good stuff out of him. Good stuff out of Illinois, which has really just been an awesome riser. And just it's right there with Arizona for hottest teams in the country, as a function of how it's been winning over the past 11 games. Obviously, Arizona's yet to lose. Next game is at home for Illinois against Northwestern. There's a biggie next weekend. We'll get to that later in the week. Let's keep it moving. Do you want to get to
Well, I was scrolling just recent drafts.
Okay.
Bub Carrington was a low-rated one and done lottery pick. That's a pretty good one. And from 2024, there was another one here that I think Reed Shepherd. It's not
Reed Shepherd. Yeah, that's a good one. No, that is a good one.
Yeah,
that is a great call. And Reed Shepherd was Reed Shepherd a second team All-American? I'm trying to remember what he was really good. Now it's going to bother me. Someone in the chat, let me know. Reed Shepherd, where did he land in All-American voting that year? Too much going on. Brain's got too much stuff in it. But Wagler is ascending on a level. Shepherd was the 5th best recruit on the team, and he popped. So he is a good recent example. That's a good pull by you. Friday night, Michigan 83, Michigan State.
Oh, I got one. I got a great one.
Oh, okay. Give it to me.
This is. I think this is the best one until this one. Taylor Hendricks.
Oh, was he one and done?
He was one and done. Top 10 pick out of Central Florida.
Yeah. He really got this whole thing going, didn't he?
Okay, I'm done. We're done with that part of the conversation. But it started. I'm just sitting here well, we're done with that. But Keaton Wagler. Keaton Wagler also, on the pronunciation thing, he is this season's Thomas Houck. It might have taken you a little while to figure out it's Houck, not Hall or whatever, but it's
yeah,
that's true. So Keaton Wagler, and he's terrific. Yeah, let's keep it moving.
We can keep it moving. Shepherd was the SEC Player of the Year. I know that, but I can't remember if we put him on our second team. It's going to drive me nuts until I figure this out before the end of the show. Okay, Michigan beats Michigan State on Friday night. Can we flash this photo, please?
So good.
Can we flash the photo? So this is now. You watched, and you got to go. If you're listening, you might already know it. But on the broadcast, they showed this. So Dusty May walked out before. This picture right here is before the game. Dusty May walked out before the game just to kind of take in the scene. And I don't know if this honestly, this looked to be like at least 60 minutes before tip. Like I don't think there were any players that were out there. And he was just looking around, and the vomitorium where he was exiting from was right next to a part of the zone, and they're giving it to him, and he's got a smirk. And the picture you see here, I want to say this is Dusty for maybe all of 3 or 4 seconds, which was an incredible image from Getty Images here. In fact, I'm going to give the photographer credit here because it was a well done job. Ray Del Rio of Getty Images, right place, right time. I sent it out after the game on Friday. You cannot tell me that is not already in the halls of the facilities in Ann Arbor. Before we get to the game, GP, I love this because it is so good-spirited in the name of a real rivalry with real hatred, and it's just the right amount of needling. Good job by Dusty here. Had not played the game, so after the fact, it looks all the better.
I mean, that's a all-time picture. I mean, that should be hanging everywhere. I totally understood his explanation for how he ended up in this situation. It almost felt like I can remember being young, and it's like, all right, yeah, we're going to pop into this place. And you walk in the front door, and the first person you see is the last person you wanted to see. And it's like, but you can't turn around because you don't want to act like, okay, I'll just get at it. So he's like, all right, I guess we're in it. I guess I'm just walking right in here. And he was like, I didn't know they were already out there. I thought I was just going to peek, and then he thought the students were still outside. And then he's out there and they see him. And then it's like, well, I can't turn around and give them that. Like they yelled me back into the tunnel. So I just got to go sit there and take it. And it was a perfect college basketball moment. Like that is, as I've said many times for many years, there are things about the NBA, the shot making that college basketball cannot replicate. But this is the good stuff that the NBA cannot replicate. Like we get this, and this is great.
One of Parrish. I mean, I know it wasn't the greatest weekend. It was a pretty good weekend. It wasn't the greatest weekend for the sport. We've had like 3 or 4 better than this one, and we're going to have 3 or 4 more that are going to supersede this one. But I just caught myself 6 or 7 times this weekend just taking in the scenes coming through and being like, yeah, that's why I love this sport. By the way, I couldn't let this dangling thread die. Reed Shepherd, we did not have as an All-American. That's probably why I can't remember him being one. Nevertheless, he was a top 3 pick in the draft. Wagler definitely on pace to be an All-American. As for what went down in East Lansing, Michigan got a big lead. I mean, they were up 18 at one point, and then Sparty roared all the way back, took the lead, and then kind of like credit to Michigan, but also kind of let go of the rope. I gave you the stat on Friday's show. This was only the 4th win in the past 26 trips for Michigan down the highway there, where it pulled off a win at Breslin. Obviously a hard place to win at. And the Wolverines and winning the way they did, like Lendeborg 26-12. I wondered on the show if he was going to show up in the way that I thought that he might, because they haven't relied on him a ton in the way they were in the first month of the season. Did so. Cadeau had 3 or 4 vital plays in the final minutes of the game. Big time 3 that I thought when it went in, I thought that was like going to be the separator. It was. He had 17 and 6 there. Michigan State on the other side, like Jeremy Fears has had, I don't know if you realize this, and if anyone watching or listening that you're not a Michigan State fan, you might not realize this. Jeremy Fears Jr. has had back-to-back games with career highs. 17 dimes against Maryland, then a career high 29 in the escape against Rutgers on the road, and then a new career high 31 in the game against Michigan. He just didn't have enough help around him. 7 dimes, 5 boards, 4 steals. Fears had an awesome game. Michigan's just the more well-rounded team. It's now 10-0 away from home this season. Michigan is 5-0 against ranked opponents. It is 7th in the country in field goal percentage, 51.5% per game, and holding opponents to 36.9% per game. It has the 2nd largest gap of any team between how many buckets it makes and how many buckets it stops you from making. The number 1 team, I'll tell you who it is before we get out of the show. Other thoughts on what went down Friday, GP?
Well, I mean, it's like you look forward to the game all week. It's in your building, and then you come out and miss 14 of your first 18 shots. It's like, they were down 10-2 to start, down 16 at the half. They get back in it. actually took a lead, but then just as soon as they took that lead, Michigan closed on that 28-14 run, if you allow a run to last 7 minutes and 19 seconds. And so that was that. Fears was terrific, like you said, in the loss. And, Michigan is now 20-1, 10-1 in the Big Ten, tied atop the league standings with Illinois, as you noted. So just a terrific performance that served as a reminder. Yes, this is a team that can do the whole thing. They're obviously terrific inside the arc. We talked about that on Friday, but they can make shots too. They made shots on Friday night, and so they go in there and get that win. Up next for them, Penn State on Thursday. Up next for Michigan State at Minnesota on Wednesday. Keeping it in the Big Ten, Indiana 98, UCLA 97 in double overtime in Pauley Pavilion. Wild game. Trent Perry hits a three with 2 seconds left to force overtime.
Yep.
Then he misses a potential game winner in the first overtime. And then IU's Trent Sisley makes a free throw with less than a second left in the second overtime to give Indiana a win on the road. That's 3 in a row for the Hoosiers. Back up to, I think, 33rd at KenPom. And Mick, he was feisty in his press conference again. He didn't have much patience for these nonsensical questions from these dummy reporters.
He didn't, although we're not going to play it on the show. It did not meet, at least my personal threshold for good enough. For most coaches, that's a good enough to, hey, let's play the video. Cronin, he was pissed. He was also pissed because, it was controversial. He thought that the ball wasn't off of UCLA. This is in the second overtime. They review it for what felt like 6 minutes in real time. They give it back to Indiana, and then Sisley gets fouled with 0.3 to go. He makes one of 2 foul shots. It's the winning margin, 98-97, double OT. Indiana gets the win. Indiana should not have even needed the 2 free sessions. It was up 10 with like a minute 45 to go, and then UCLA roared back. That Perry 3 was, when it went in, I was like, they're going to win the game. Like, they're going to get this done in overtime. They couldn't pull it out in the first free session, and then Indiana had just enough. But I get why Mick was pissed. Nick Dorn, 26 for Indiana. Just, okay, let's go. Jamal Wilkerson at 24. He played well as well. In fact, I want to say Sisley had 3 points, and one of them was the winning point margin there. So an unexpected hero for Indiana near the end. That is a win over Purdue, and at UCLA, 15-7 for Indiana gets them into the projected field. Oh, I had a great note on Illinois. Hold on. I got you Indiana and Illinois, because I didn't realize. Shouts to our CBS Sports research team on this too. I got it just before we went on the air. Strangely enough, this is a crazy low number. In the AP poll era, I'm not talking the past 25 years. I'm not talking the past 35 years. I'm talking back to the late 1940s. There have only been 4 teams ever to win 2 games on the road in an 8-day span against top 5 opponents. Illinois just did it. It won last Saturday at Purdue, and it won Sunday at Nebraska. I'm not going to trivia time you. Here they are. 21-22, Oregon did it against UCLA and USC. 2013-14, Michigan did it against Wisconsin and Michigan State.
Of course.
And then 75-76, Clemson did it against Wake Forest in Maryland. So Illinois fans, what you've just done, super rare, like shockingly rare, that there just hasn't been more teams been put in a spot to, you got to have 2 road games in an 8-day span. I get all that, but only 4 times ever. Really, really surprising. Good on you, Illinois. For Indiana, what I was going to say was, while there have been some teams that have logged some really nice wins this week, in fact, Michigan probably near the top of that list, I just don't think a team did better for its trajectory, GP, than IU, which was not in the tournament field. And we're on February 1. Like, now I start to bracketology. We can lean into it a little bit more because it's got more validity to it as we get closer and closer to March here. It's in the field now. I don't think it was in the field a week ago. And that's a big time double OT win for IU on the road. They've got more work to do. They've got at USC in a couple of days, home to Wisconsin, at Illinois, at Purdue, home to Michigan State, 5 of its next 7 Parrish. I think Indiana needs to go at least 2-3 in that stretch to remain in the Big Dance, if not 3-2, but a good win nonetheless. And oh, by the way, Amari Bailey was in attendance at this game. That's another thing that's happened since we podcasted last. Yes, that Amari Bailey, who got talked about on this podcast probably more than he needed to be in the 22-23 season. He is exploring trying to get eligible and be the next Charles Bediako. He was in attendance at this game. It was apparently alumni night. I don't know if he's trying to go back to UCLA or not, but I'm only noting that he was in the building a day removed from that story really catching fire after he went on the record with ESPN on Friday saying he wanted to get back in.
On one hand, I don't think somebody who's played in the NBA should be coming back to college basketball.
Do not say this. I'm begging you.
On one hand. On the other hand, I wouldn't mind having Amari Bailey's mom back on college campuses. I mean, I forgot about her. I ain't really even checked in on her lately to see how she's doing over on Instagram. I'm gonna need to look her up. I wonder how she's been doing. I wonder what she's been up to. I bet she's been up to some stuff. I almost didn't mention Amari. I think if I didn't mention Amari Bailey was at the game, I don't think he gets mentioned on the podcast. But I felt it was newsworthy, relevant, but I knew what I was doing. I'm just an underhand softball right over the plate. If I know Amari Bailey's mom like I know Amari Bailey's mom, I trust she's been up to some stuff over the past couple of years. I just forgot about her, if I'm being honest.
And I have too, but you can clear this up for me. She dated Drake, or allegedly, or they're friends, something like that with the Drake stuff.
I think they might have been. You know what? It's not for me to say. All right.
But her association with Drake, that my bell's ringing on that.
That's a real thing. I believe. Okay. I believe they had dinner together. I believe they. I think they.
Do you have the restaurant? Do you have the menu?
I think they've consumed food together. Drake and Amari Bailey's mother, I think, have consumed food together. This was back before it was crystal clear to the world that Drake is a master manipulator and a habitual liar too. All right. I forgot about her. I'm going to look her up. So I know what I'm doing tonight. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to settle in, watch the Grammys on America's Most Watched Network of Stars.
With K-Dot, of course.
I mean, I'm hoping GNX is going to win Album of the Year, but they're acting like it might be Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny is my pick. Kendrick to me, but Bad Bunny's my pick.
I genuinely think GNX was the best album of this time frame, but I don't think anybody wants to hear what a nearly 50-year-old man thinks about. I'm gonna watch the Grammys, and I'm gonna see what Amari Bailey's mom's been up to. If I know her, if I remember her like I think I remember her, I can trust she's been active. I can trust she's been active. I hope she's been doing all right. On UCLA,
yeah.
Oh, buddy, they could use an Amari Bailey. They lost again. There are now only two preseason top 15 teams, AP poll, that are no longer ranked. One of them. Okay, you want to go? Go.
Well, that's just a lower. If you had asked me to guess, I would have probably said 4, maybe 5. Only 2.
Always, if you go look at in the spirit of giving credit where credit is due, if you look at the preseason AP poll, it holds up pretty well right now.
Okay, my guess. So UCLA is. Well, you're saying they're gonna fall out. They're not out. Or no, they're out.
No, they're out. They're out.
Okay, so they're one of the 2?
There's 2. UCLA is one of them. No, Creighton was not top 15.
You're saying top 15. I'm thinking top 25. Yes. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, top 15.
Give me the conference.
SEC, and you just saw them lose by 25.
Alabama.
What? Come on, man. Kentucky and Nashville. Remember going to Nashville?
I'm thinking today. When they all lost, Alabama was ranked. That's right. Sorry, that's hold on. That's a bad job by me.
That's fine. That's fine. So it is UCLA.
In just a second.
Yeah, UCLA and Kentucky are the only preseason top 15 teams that are currently unranked. Next up for Indiana at USC on Tuesday. Next up for UCLA at home against Rutgers on Tuesday. Let's move on to the SEC, and let's start with the big result from Sunday afternoon. Number 19, Florida 100. Number 23, Alabama 77. Ty Golden said he was going to kick Alabama's ass no matter who they had. And, I mean, you know what? He followed through on his promise. He followed through on his promise.
This is among the most notable called shots that emphatically came through in recent memory across sports. He said, we'll beat him anyways. He said it twice. And it was 100-77, and it was every single bit, every atom of 100-77. Florida, 72-26 in the paint. I checked in with the staff afterward. that they were extremely fueled by the Bediako thing. You think? You think? Dude, GP, they went 3 of 13 from 3. Florida did, and got 100 points. They were at 1.29 points per possession with 3 made threes. That's nuts. Their front court had 61 points, 29 boards, 5 blocks, 4 steals. Ruben Chinilu, who, by the way, is the only player in the SEC averaging a double-double, he was outrageous in this game. Just a defensive menace. Incredible game for him. 14 points, 17 boards, pair of blocks. Thomas Houck was awesome. Alex Condon was terrific. Like, Boogie Fland is like the, oh, by the way, dude had 8 steals. He had 8 steals. Florida had 2 turnovers to Alabama's 18. It was a 25-0 points over turnover margin. This was, I mean, Alabama didn't force the issue whatsoever. This was definitive, man. Florida's now alone in second place in the SEC behind Texas A&M as a result of this at 7-2. It's 16-6 overall. I think it is now 6 at KenPom as a 6-loss team. Speaks to how efficient they are and the quality of those losses when they were taking them on. They were 5-4 earlier in the season. They've won 11 of 13 overall, have beaten Alabama 5 times in a row for the first time in 11 years or so. Just monster team. The front court showed up in a way that when you and plenty of others had Florida preseason top 3, top 4, it was because of the team they showed to be today. They could have played and defeated it. With the way they played, anybody in the country on their home, specifically on their home floor. Bediako, 6 points, 7 rebounds, 4 blocks, 5 fouls. The student section particularly was chanting G League dropout. He was getting harangued the entire game. You go back, this is what you're going to get. Like, he knows it. Everyone knows that's going to be the deal. Alabama's 2-5 against ranked teams this season, GP. And Nate Oates has deployed 12 different starting lineups. They got their guys back to be mostly healthy in this one, but impossible not to be impressed by what Florida did there. Like, they were good. Like, they took the loss to Auburn, but there were really good wins this weekend. You tell me, who was more impressive than what Florida did? I don't think there's a single team that start to finish was better than the Gators.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I mean, obviously doing that to that Alabama team, that's an Alabama team that at different parts in the season looked like he could win the SEC, and they just ran him off the court. And the verbal back and forth, it didn't stop with Todd talking about we'll whip their ass anyway. Like, Nate had the thing. You saw Nate's thing about
well, when you allow him to stand in the paint for 6, 7, 8 seconds, I love it. Give me more. I want.
I agree. I agree.
And you know what? And then what happened? Florida kicked Bama's ass, and then afterward they shook hands in the line and got on their merry way. Like, yes, let's go. I love it.
I'm sort of, in the middle of this stuff. Like, I don't like it when, like, I don't really care that much. So, like, but like when the Ohio State coach can't mention Michigan, or the Ole Miss coach can't mention Mississippi State. I'm like, what? Like, it seems silly to me. I like it when there can be a rivalry, but one with a healthy dose of respect. Like, hey, we don't have to hate each other or pretend to hate each other just because I work at this school and you work at that school. I like it when the coaches working in this profession can kind of approach it that way. That's the way I think I'd like to be. But I do like it every once in a while when we get a little bit of this, a little bit of the chirping back and forth. And so that was fun, the back and forth between Todd and Nate. Obviously, they're two of the very best coaches, not only in the SEC, but in the country. And the reigning national champions got the best of the Crimson Tide in this one. Keep it moving. Kentucky 85, number 15, Arkansas 77. Mark Pope gets his revenge. Wild week for the Wildcats. Get blasted in Nashville, then to go to Fayetteville, beat their former coach. UK has now won 6 of 7. Mm-hmm. They led by as many as 13, led for nearly the whole game, won it by 8.
Arkansas, let's go to the Arkansas part first real quick. First loss at home this season. Obviously, the result has flipped from a year ago when Kentucky was in the better spot, was expected to win the game on its home floor. Cal comes in with Arkansas, wins the game, and really changes the season for Arkansas. Mm-hmm. They would go on to make the Sweet 16. Kentucky's coming off just the embarrassing no-show. Of course, I saw it in person earlier this week in icy Nashville, and you just wonder, can they keep it close? they won it. There's just so much with this game, man. By the way, Acuff continues to be awesome. Like even in the loss, he's just an awesome player. Just another amazing freshman. Doug Shouse.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to mention it. Like this, and I don't typically say a lot of like this, and I tweeted it, so I'm gonna say it on the show. Like this needs to be disqualifying to work the Final Four, man. Like there was the hilarious screen cap where it's just a bemused Mark Pope, and underneath it says Kentucky, 3 technical fouls in the last 38 seconds. Like, when's the last time that happened? 2 of the technicals were completely unjustified, especially the one on Mo Diabate. Like, tell me you saw that. Tell me you saw him just say, I think he said, let's go after blocking a shot.
I know.
To no one. And he didn't even forcefully yell it. And Shouse instantaneously gives him a tech. What are we doing? And at that point, it looks like Arkansas is going to win the game. Kentucky rallied. But GP, like he's a longtime referee. Like he gets these assignments because he's a good ref. Like they get graded out. Come on, man. You can't do this. And Kentucky fans, obviously.
Stay out of it. Stay out of it. Nobody minded that. There's 10 dudes playing basketball on the court. None of them minded what happened except you. All right?
There's like 3 or 4 of these games a year because to me a lot of it like blame the refs, like that's straight up loser talk. Like me as a Bears fan, like it's the one team that I like forcefully root for. Almost never ever will I like pin a team's loss on the officials. I just think a lot of that's cope. But every so often, man, like just as a neutral observer, there will be a game where a crew or a specific official, like it'll outright annoy me. And I hit that point in this game. Like Kentucky, they overcame it. I think there were 6 techs and a flagrant in this game. And even like the one on Arkansas, I honestly, that was a makeup tech and you shouldn't even have that to begin with. Whatever. That was frustrating to watch. Otega Owe, 24 points, season high. Kentucky has won 6 of its last 7 on the road against Arkansas, which is wild. Also won 6 of its last 7 on the road in the SEC, as you mentioned, to get to 15-7. There's a couple surprising stats in here, GP. Kentucky held Arkansas to 3 of 14 from beyond the arc. Good on them. Kentucky is 10-0 this season when it leads at the half, and it's 31-1 under Pope when it leads at the half. Maybe that stat needs to be pinned in every single room and every single hallway in Lexington to keep the motivation on early. BYU's kind of had that issue, so as Kentucky wasn't there on Saturday in Fayetteville. The 8-point win, courtesy of Kentucky's SID, 8-point win was the largest margin of victory for an unranked Kentucky team in a road game against a top 15 team ever. It's just shocking. There's never been an unranked Kentucky team that won by a bigger margin against a top 15 team on the road than what we saw on Saturday. That's pretty wild. And then by beating Tennessee and Arkansas this season, both of them being ranked, it's the first time in Kentucky's history that Kentucky has been unranked and won multiple road games against ranked teams in the SEC. These are just shocking. These are shocking to me. Now, Kentucky is typically ranked, so that situation doesn't emerge all that much. But highly impressive. Malachi Marino, I thought had himself a really nice game. Trent Noah, like he pops in, adds 9 there. Good on them. If you're Arkansas, this is kind of like talented team. This is just kind of the thing where, and Kentucky's had these as well. Don't get me wrong. But it feels like there's going to be a couple games where they just can't get it together and they lose when they shouldn't lose. That's the case here. I sent it out on Twitter, GP. Kentucky it's got us all fooled. Routed by Michigan State. Lost the game you shouldn't have lost to at home against North Carolina. No show against Gonzaga. No show against Vandy. Got just rung up big time against Bama. But it's also now beaten Arkansas. Come back big to win against LSU. Got the win over Indiana. Didn't have any issues with St. John's. It's been trending in the right way. But I am done. I am done trying to predict Kentucky. I'm just telling you that I am now convinced that no matter what I do with Kentucky in the NCAA tournament, I will be wrong. It doesn't matter. It's a roving target, but good for Mark Pope. That's a big time response after the obliteration in Nashville earlier in the week.
Yeah, just circling back to the technical fouls, like go sit courtside at an NBA game and hear the way these people talk to each other. I mean, I understand different things, but like we would be wise to move more that direction. Maybe not entirely that direction where every time you make a shot, you tell whoever was guarding you to S your D, but like you shouldn't be getting a technical foul for saying, let's go. All right. That's outrageous. And every once in a while, the refs would be wise to just let it go. It's fine. Nobody's bothered by what just happened. The only person who can make something of this moment is you. Everybody's cool with what just happened. You're the only one who can turn this into something more than it is. Why are you doing it? It's unnecessary. Let's keep it going. Just a few random notable results out of leagues that we're just not going to spend much time on. For
you don't want to give a quick shout to A&M? Still leads the SEC, wins at Georgia?
I'm sorry, you're exactly right. I do. A&M 92, Georgia 77. I moved Texas A&M into the top 25 and 1. I got them in at, I believe, number 24. 17 and 4, 7 and 1 in the SEC, alone atop the league standings. The computer numbers aren't as strong as maybe you'd like them to be for a team that's sitting alone atop the SEC standings on February 1st. But, Bucky McMillan would be the SEC Coach of the Year right now. I don't think there would be any doubt. They were picked 13th in the preseason SEC poll. I used, 300-something words on them in the lead at the top 25 and 1 on Sunday morning. 13th in the preseason SEC poll. Top 6 scorers are all averaging double figures in points. All of them are in their first year in the program. And this is a guy who was a high school basketball coach 6 years ago. And right now, he's looking down at John Calipari and Rick Barnes and Todd Golden and Nate Oates. You know what I mean. It's an incredible, in a season filled with incredible stories, we got one emerging at A&M as well.
Yeah, A&M fans got to not just you're on top of the league. You look over like Buzz Williams, Maryland earlier today on CBS, non-competitive against Purdue. Buzz left you for Maryland, and now you bring in Bucky McMillan. Look how well it's going so far. 6 players averaging between 10.3 points and 13.9. He's making it work. Held Georgia to 16 below its season average in this game while hitting its average going in. A&M was averaging 91.8. It scores 92 in this one. It's very much working at this point. Now, it's going to get more difficult here over the next 4 weeks. But again, it's just like you're so far ahead of the pace and really, really impressive here. They're a fun team to watch. I know they don't have like tremendous star power, but I'd hesitate on just dismissing this as like a team that might finish top 3 or 4 in the SEC. And then because they don't have a lot of general appeal, you just kind of write them off. I don't know, man. Like, they are averaging just a shade under 12 made threes per game. That's top 5 in college basketball. Like, they can fill it up. Now, the next 2 games at Alabama, home to Florida. So it's about to get really real, but that's mighty impressive. We can keep it moving, but I'll just at least note that Sean Miller got win number 500 unofficially. He's had some vacated. Oklahoma has lost 8 in a row. It is ugly. Texas won on the road at Oklahoma, and Tennessee got the win over Auburn. 3 in a row for the Vols, up to 15-6. Nate Emmett, 22-8. Tennessee absolutely punked Auburn on the boards. I think we got to get to the other undefeated teams.
Yeah. I've got some results out of leagues we're not going to spend too much time on for whatever reason. But yes, let's start with the other undefeated team in the country. It's Miami, Ohio, number 24. The Redhawks got 85 points. Northern Illinois 61. So it was another blowout. They remain undefeated. I don't know what new there is to say about this other than it must be acknowledged every time they win until they don't.
I'll be quick. I have a fact and a nugget for you. Over the past 30 years, there have only been 5 seasons where we have gotten, it's February 1. We have 2 undefeated teams in college basketball. This is not common. The previous 4, the most recent one was the COVID 2021 season, which had, cancellation. So even that was slightly affected by it. But in 21, Gonzaga, Baylor, and Drake all made it to February 1 without a loss, but they were 17, 16, and 16-0 respectively. We've got Miami and Arizona both at 22-0 right now. In 13, 14, Wichita State, Arizona, and Syracuse all got to this point. Wichita State was 22-0 on this date. 2004-05, Illinois and Boston College. You heard me correct. 2004-2005, Boston College made it to February 1 without a loss. That Illinois team, one of the better ones not to win a national title over the past 30 years. And then 03-04, Stanford and St. Joe's made it to February without a loss. So a cool rarity. Miami got it done. Was kind of playing with his foot a little bit, which has been prone to do. We'll see if that bites them in a big way soon, but they get it done. Let's keep it touring, GP. What else pops to you?
Let's take them just in order of where they're ranked in the AP poll. Number 2, UConn 85, Creighton 58. The Huskies are now 11-0 in the Big East, but it sort of speaks to the state of that conference. that this is what they have accumulated in this 11-0 start in the Big East. 2 quadrant 1 wins, 6 quadrant 2 wins, 3 quadrant 3 wins.
They got a big one coming at the end of the week, but you're right.
Sure. Yeah, like this is not their fault. This is not their fault.
Hell no, because Dan Hurley scheduled the hell up in non-conference.
Right. It is not Dan Hurley's job to keep the other Big East programs competitive. He scheduled aggressively in the non-league. They did everything they are supposed to do. But this is true. They haven't played a currently ranked team since December 9th. You know? They haven't played a currently ranked team since December 9th. That's when they played Florida. So they are awesome, undefeated at full strength, but there's just not much resistance for them in the Big East. Next up, they got Xavier at home on Tuesday, and then the big one you mentioned, it's Friday night, St. John's at Madison Square Garden.
All right, so UConn is 11-0 in league. It's only the third time that's ever happened. 98-99 won the title. 95-96, they started 14-0 in the old Big East there. Braylon Mullins came back. He missed the previous game with a concussion, had a game-high 16 points. Karaban and Demery both had 15. Creighton, unfortunately, it is a fall-off. 1-6 in quad 1 games. Before we go to the next game, though, Dan Hurley did provide a good quote post-game because he got asked what it was like to play against Creighton and no longer have to worry about Ryan Kalkbrenner. Compared it to, when they didn't have Klingon last year and adjusting to a certain extent. But he did segue into a more contemporary hot topic in college basketball. Quick video. Let's watch it real quick right here.
When you lose like the most impactful player in the country on defense. So obviously he's playing great in the NBA, starting and doing awesome. So I'm just grateful that there's no chance that he's going to try to come back to college. I don't think your judges. I think the judges in Nebraska, they wouldn't fucking do that. Is that it? Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, that's another F-bomb from Hurley in the post game, and Ryan Kalkbrenner, I don't think in any danger of trying to return to the sport. So Hurley just, they get the win, and he's going to make sure his opinion is well known on that. He obviously went on the record with me back in January. Who's next? Want to talk Duke?
Yeah, out of the ACC, number 4, Duke 72, Virginia Tech 58. The Duke and UConn stories are pretty similar. They're just, they're both sitting here as one-loss teams. They're both in the top 5. They both aren't being pushed by anybody in their league because the leagues are down relative to where you'd like them to be. Just like I mentioned, UConn hasn't played a currently ranked team since December 9th. Duke hasn't beaten a currently ranked team other than Louisville since December 6th when it beat Michigan State. So they're terrific, but the schedule just hasn't given them much in the league. 20-1 overall, 9-0 in the ACC. Up next, Boston College at home on Tuesday, so it's another one of them. And then finally on Saturday, it's at North Carolina. So, that'll break that streak of whatever.
Yep, and we'll talk about that later in the week. Duke is 31-1 in its last 32 games against ACC teams, and Shire just went undefeated in January. He has been undefeated in 5 months since he got this job. December of 24, January of 25, March of 25, November of 25, and now January of 26. 5 times he's gone through a month without a scratch. Virginia Tech is 1-5 in quad 1 games this season. It's actually got some talent. The lone quad 1 win was in 3 overtimes at home against Virginia. It is a good team, but it has to show it in February. It is going to be running out of room with a quickness. I actually thought this was a missed opportunity. Duke's really good. What can you do? But if it had gotten the win, it would have really done a boost for its profile. What about Gonzaga late night on Saturday, GP? I stayed up to watch the whole thing. One of the final 2, if not 3 meetings against St. Mary's is WCC. Compatriots there. Gales. That's another team. Like they're 0-3 in quad 1 this season, 19-1 in Q2, 3, and 4, but 0-3 in quad 1. Couldn't get it done. Best free throw shooting team in the nation. Makes better than 82% of its foul shots. Went 23 of 25 from the line in hostile territory. Wasn't enough. Lost 73-65. Graham Ike was back from that ankle injury. 30 points in 37 minutes. I thought Gonzaga's defense was one of the best efforts it had been the entire season. It was extremely impressive. They knew what the game meant. That game means a ton, obviously, every single year. Gonzaga wins its 15th in a row, and they were sharp, man. They were super sharp. Obviously, you just saw them in person all of a week ago. Where do you have the Zags in your rankings, and any thoughts on what went down there late on Saturday?
The Zags are, well, I can tell you the Zags will be tomorrow morning when I update. The Zags are going to move up to number 5 in the top 25 and 1. They're terrific. EK looked rested and healthy. He was fabulous after missing a handful of games. It was always a pain tolerance thing, I was told, and he was close last Saturday. It was always clear he was going to try to go in this one, and he was terrific. And the Zags are in this last run through the WCC. Mark's going to win a 23rd WCC regular season championship. And I talked to him a little bit about this last week. Are you looking forward to leaving? Are you enjoying the final trip through? And he said they are trying to like take it all in a little bit. Like, hey, this is the last time we're going to go here, and this is the last time we're going to go here. And though he and everybody else there makes it clear like they have really enjoyed everything about the West Coast Conference. I mean, it's been a great home for them. They built this monster in that league. But are they looking forward to like seeing some new places in January and February? Going to some new buildings, flying into some new airports. Yes, they are looking forward to that. And but before they do that, they're gonna get one more trophy with the WCC on it.
Can we get some mid-major love before we get out of here and start looking ahead too?
Yeah, number 21 St. Louis, 102 Dayton 71. St. Louis remains among the one-loss teams, and I wrote about this last week at the top 25 and 1. Like they're really close to not being a one-loss team, to being undefeated. I mean, it's a Stanford 3 at the buzzer.
Was it? Okay. I thought they fouled up 3 and it backfired them. I think that's what I could be wrong. I thought that was the situation there, but it was really, really close.
I think that
maybe they didn't foul up 3.
Yeah, I think it's they didn't foul up 3 or I don't know, but I think somebody banged a 3 on them at the buzzer at Stanford. And if that shot misses, St. Louis is sitting here right now as an undefeated team. They're good. I mean, they're good.
Yes.
And that building's great. Like,
I'm trying to maybe get to that building in February, by the way. I got to see if travel plans will work for it, but Schertz he's going to be the hottest name on the carousel. I've never been there. You are right. And I know we're running long on a Sunday, but there's a ton, and I'll try and get us out of here relatively quickly. St. Louis needs a little bit of love here. If they had beaten Stanford, St. Louis is a massive story for the past month. And in fact, it's a little bit of it is on a podcast like this that we haven't talked about them more. But Parrish, 102-71, this is the team I referenced about 45 minutes ago. Number 1 effective field goal offense, number 1 effective field goal defense in the country, man. They are extremely good, okay? They have the greatest differential in their overall field goal percentage and how much they hold you to on defense. Michigan was number 2. St. Louis is number 1. 7 games of hitting the century mark this season. 4-1 in quad 1 and 2. 7 guys average at least 9 or better on this team. Robbie Avila, obviously the biggest star, but they really are doing it by committee. Schertz is a wonderful tactician. They're an outstanding team, and they're about to get their glow up, and deservingly so, because at 21 and 1 now, GP, right? Gonzaga's not a mid-major, and St. Louis is better than Miami. This is the best mid-major team in the country this season, and if it can keep this up and get out of February it's 21 and 1 now, it's projected to win on an individual basis every remaining game. But if it can get out of February with just 2 losses, like big-time stuff is coming. I do think that if it keeps this up, that number 1 effective field goal offense-defense stuff is ridiculous. Like, Final 4 dark horse material. Maybe dark horse is selling them short. A legit team for Schertz, who, not going to speak for him because I haven't even talked to him about this at all. He will have his pick of jobs if he wants it. Maybe he loves it at St. Louis and wants to wait it out a year. We've seen that plenty. I'm just telling you, he is killing it immediately again in year 2. There's going to be some jobs that come open, and he will have his pick of the litter if he so chooses.
Okay, we were both wrong. Here's what happened. St. Louis, Stanford.
Okay.
Billikens were up 3 late. There is a foul. Abuka Akori makes the first. Then they miss the second.
So they did foul up 3.
They did foul up 3, make the first, miss the second. Offensive rebound. Benny Gieler made 3-pointer with 2 seconds left to to give Stanford the 78-77 win.
We were both right.
So if Keeler misses that shot, St. Louis is still undefeated. Or if, they don't grab that offensive rebound, St. Louis is still undefeated. Right there. It's a terrific story. And am I remembering this right? There was a report over the past week or two about St. Louis reaching out to the Big East. Did you read this?
Yeah, I actually had something on this in the court report a couple of weeks ago where it wasn't St. Louis. It was politicians on behalf of Dayton and St. Louis basically sent the letter, and then they kind of leaked it. And then just when something like that happens, I want to just check in. Right. I then got told by Big East affiliated people, hey, this is not the way to do it. And in fact, you might have hurt your chances by how you handled this. So not that St. Louis couldn't thrive in the Big East, but I was told there is no momentum right now for either of those schools for candidacy, despite the politicians lobbying for it to happen earlier this year.
That's fine, but it is a thought I've had about St. Louis, particularly since it built this building. Because, when I was in college, I think Memphis was in a league with St. Louis. So I was familiar with the program. You've got the market. It's a major league market, a really nice on-campus building. What would prevent St. Louis from being Xavier other than the Big East affiliation and the right coach? Mm-hmm. I don't know, smarter people than I can answer that question, but I've always thought if you just gave that, exactly like what we were talking about with Central Florida earlier, give them the power conference affiliation and then it'll go. I've always thought with St. Louis basketball, if you put it in the Big East, it would start to look like a Big East. It would start to look like a biggest program.
I think there are slew fans right now that are music to our ears. We've believed this for 2 decades. Yeah. I'm not even saying that you're wrong. I just think the Big East right now still likes the fact that it's got the 11-team double round robin, 20 game, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
we'll see. We have a couple people in the chat that have been asking for this. We were always getting to it. CBS gave us a really entertaining game. Utah State, San Diego State. The Aggies won 71-66. Get to 18-3. Now tied with San Diego State in the Mountain West. Both are 9-2. Carson Templin off the bench, team high 18 points. MJ Collins and Mason Falslev, who are, one of the best 1-2 duos in America and certainly at the mid-major level, they just combined for 20. Utah State was leading the league in paint scoring in general, and they matched it again. They were averaging 40 points in the paint. They hit that exact number against San Diego State. It was a big key to getting them to get that win, because San Diego State is pretty good on the interior. It doesn't allow you more than 20, 22 points in the colored area on a nightly basis. Utah State owned it, and they shut down. I think I mentioned this on the show Friday. San Diego State's got one of the deepest benches in the country, and they really didn't get a lot of production from their bench on Saturday. That was another awesome, and that building is always awesome, but another incredible environment. Robbie Hummel on the call. Love that he got that mixed in. That was really cool. I haven't texted to ask Robbie. I'm almost positive that would have been the first time he ever was in that building. I'm sure he loved it. It was on fire. And credit to Utah State. San Diego State averaging 81 going into the game. I mentioned that on the show on Friday. Held to just 66 here. So that's another team, not that far off of St. Louis, to be honest. It's 2 more losses, but second weekend threat, absolutely. Utah State, really, really good stuff out of Jared Calhoun, who, yes, I mean, we joked about this on the pod before. Utah State just unfortunately, every 2 years, has a coaching candidate on the carousel. Calhoun will also be another one that will be ripe for the picking if he opts to leave. Not saying he will. This is just how it goes, man. You coach at Utah State, you get in the tournament. That's right. 80s and search terms are going to find you. Jared Calhoun's name will be on that list in a few weeks here.
Utah State's best job in the country, it looks like. Nobody loses there.
One after another.
Best job in the country. I feel like I can win 27 games at Utah State. Just give me the job. I'll go win 27. I'll go win 27 in year 1. That building is awesome. And I did appreciate, we're going to have the Purdues and the Marylands too. It's America's most watched network. But I did on Friday night on CBS Sports Network, we had an Atlantic 10 building looking awesome. Mm-hmm. And then Saturday on CBS, we had a Mountain West building looking awesome. It's never been harder than it is right now to maintain success in those leagues, I think. But you've got 2 examples of it happening right now, and we got to see them both on on television this weekend. MJ Collins, I had mentioned we had a Utah State game in studio a few weeks back. There was a moment in time when Utah State was ranked, his shooting percentages were crazy, and it was if this stays where it is, he's going to be an All-American. He could steal be that, but he has been struggling to shoot it lately. 3 of 14 in this one from the field, 2 of 9 from 3. He's still above 51% from the field on the season, which is great for a little guard. Still above 40% from 3. Terrific. But those numbers were much better 6 games ago. He hasn't shot better than 33.3% from beyond the arc in 6 straight games. So nice win. But if they're going to, do everything it looks like they're capable of doing, he's got to get back to making shots a little more consistently than he's been doing lately. But I'm sure he knows that.
Let's keep it moving. One quick news there. We can just keep it moving though. Just surprising. Mark Turgeon, former Maryland coach. Yeah. He's going to be the next coach at Kansas City, formerly UMKC. The branding is Kansas City. 5-year deal. It was announced earlier on Sunday. Good on him. I actually had talked to a coach recently who said he talked to Turgeon about a year ago, maybe a little less, and it seemed like Turge was all too content to not return, but they got him done. That's an amazing get for Kansas City. Turgeon has 10 NCAA tournaments, more than 450 wins. So a mid-major note there. Good on him. Marvin Menzies is coaching out the string this season. Turgeon will take over next month. And we have our first coaching vacancy filled on what will obviously be a busy carousel. You want to look ahead to the AP top 5, top 10 here? I know you want to pick the top 5. That's not hard. Like top 10, I actually think we're going to have some real turnover here.
All right. First, though, I want to get one more word from our partners. I don't think nobody will get mad at me if we pay some bills one more time. So let's do that, and then let's come back and let's look ahead.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
All right, before we look ahead to the next couple of days, let's predict the top 5 of Monday's Associated Press Top 25 poll. Norlander, I'll give you first stab at it. No, if you want to get wild and try to go 6 through 10, get wild. Go through 6 through 10.
I'm gonna go. No, how about this? I'm gonna serve it right back to you.
Okay.
You give me the top 5. I think we will agree, and then I will give 6 through 10 because that's when it gets a little bit hairy here. So 1 through 5. I don't think we'll disagree whatsoever on who will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
I don't think it's hard to get this. Arizona will continue to be number 1 at 22-0. They've got 9 quadrant 1 wins. They are number 1 in strength of record, projected favorite in every remaining game, including games at Houston and at Kansas. That's wild. Arizona will likely be the unanimous number 1 in the AP poll. Again, number 2 will be UConn, 21-1 overall, 6-1 in quadrant 1. Undefeated while at full strength. Obviously, they've got that 1 loss, but they were down 2 starters in that game. Number 3, it should be Michigan. 20-1 overall, 8-0 in quadrant 1, 7-1 in quadrant 2. So they do have that 1 home loss to Wisconsin. They're the only team in this collection of teams in this conversation that have a loss outside of quadrant 1, but they should still be 3rd in the AP poll on Monday. Duke should be number 4 at 20-1. Lone loss to Texas Tech by a point. They're 9-1 in quadrant 1. Number 1 in BPI, if that matters to you at all. And at number 5, I think it'll be Gonzaga, 22-1 overall, 3-1 in quadrant 1. Lone loss to Michigan by 40, but outside of that, they've been excellent. Slightly different than what the top 25-1 will be. Same 5 teams, just a slightly different order. I will have the top 25-1. Arizona at number 1, UConn at number 2, Duke at number 3, Michigan at number 4, Gonzaga at number 5. But the AP poll should be Arizona, UConn, Michigan, Duke, Gonzaga. I'm sure you agree. Take it from there.
Okay, so 6 through 10, let's look at it. Well, the highest ranked team that lost this week, it's going to be Nebraska. It's going to fall out of the top 10 because it lost at home to Illinois and lost against Michigan. Huskers set a program record, never had been as high as number 5 in the AP top 25. I think it slips more than 5 spots as a result of losing 2 games. The next highest team that lost was number 7 Michigan State. Now, it struggled to win against Rutgers in overtime. Then it lost at home to Michigan. I will predict that Michigan State, and I might be wrong, I'm going to say it falls out of the top 10 narrowly. I think Michigan State will be number 11. Which then leads us to number 8, Iowa State. Did not lose. I think Iowa State gets to number 6.
Yep.
I think Illinois, as a result of winning against Nebraska and continuing this huge winning streak, Illinois will then jump up to number 7. Illinois was number 9 heading in this week. Houston did not lose this week. Houston is number 10 here on Monday. I think it jumps up to number 8. And then 9 and 10 gets interesting. I could be wrong about Michigan State, and maybe voters will say Michigan's really good. And because of that, we're just not going to drop them. Kansas was 14th this week. I think Kansas jumps up to number 9. It beat BYU. It was a high-profile game. It's the highest-ranked team not to lose. Like Texas Tech lost to UCF. Purdue, outside of the top 10, lost to Indiana in the past week. BYU lost twice. It's not going to jump. Kansas is next in line at 14. I think it jumps to 9. 15 is Arkansas. It lost, which means I think the North Carolina Tar Heels will return to the top 10 and narrowly edge out Michigan State. UNC beat Georgia Tech. Wasn't much of a game. Give me the Tar Heels to finish out the AP top 10 on Monday with the refresh, just ahead of Michigan State at 11.
The top 25 and 1 won't be exactly that. I think I'll probably keep Nebraska in the top 10. I think body of work is still going to be top 10 worthy in that range. But yes, I do think it goes Iowa State at 6, Illinois at 7, Houston at 8. And then I might go Nebraska 9 and then Michigan State at 10. And that would be the top 10. But either way, the top of the poll shouldn't be hard to guess. I'd bet a decent amount of money we got that right. Let's look ahead to the next couple of days on the schedule. On Monday, 2 games involving ranked teams, Syracuse at North Carolina and Kansas at Texas Tech. Obviously, the big story in that second one, will Darryn Peterson play? If so, how much?
Yeah, and we might even get a little bit of, like, does Caleb Wilson go off at home against a whatever Syracuse team? Wilson's been tremendous. He's a top 10 player in the country. He's knocking on the door of, with a lot of guys, the competition for first team All-America status is incredibly competitive, and I couldn't love it more. I'd be interested to see how he shows up in this one. Can he get UNC a 4th win in a row? Should be able to do so. And then the second game, yes, it is all eyes on what Darryn Peterson can do on the road. Texas Tech coming off the loss here. Just a fantastic matchup in general. Tech had won 5 in a row before taking that loss to UCF. So that is quite literally appointment television. I will be on CBS Sports HQ both before and after the games on Monday night for recap and highlight and analysis purposes. What do we have on Tuesday? On
Tuesday, I will be in studio, CBS Sports Network. We're going to have a triple header, 7 o'clock Eastern, St. Bonaventure at Dayton, 9 o'clock Eastern, St. Louis. Billikens back on our air at Davidson, 11 o'clock Eastern, Wyoming at San Diego State. And then, of course, at 1 a.m., we'll have a 30-minute edition of Inside College Basketball. Elsewhere in the sport, no great matchups, but we do get undefeated Miami, Ohio at Buffalo.
That's one to watch for sure.
St. John's is at DePaul. Virginia is hosting Pitt. NC State is at SMU. Indiana trying to extend its winning streak at USC. Ole Miss at Tennessee. Any of that interest you?
Indiana at USC is the most interesting one to me. Can Indiana keep it going? USC 50th at Ken Pom. GP 16-6 has lost 3 of its past 5. Had a close home win against a bad Rutgers team. So there's a lot of urgency to that one. NC State at SMU might be better than people realize. That's a 9 Eastern tip on Tuesday. Keep an eye out for that. We will have no shortage of stuff to talk about on Wednesday morning. But if I'm accurate, we got a Tuesday show, don't we?
I think we got a Tuesday show. I think we got it.
Sports Network. So a little bonus pod for you. Watch if you can on CBS Sports Network live on Tuesday, or set your YouTube TV or DVR if you want to watch us on TV. It's like the podcast, only it's a little bit different. And I think we'll have some good stuff waiting for you there on Tuesday.
All right. I think that's a show. Let's go watch the Grammys.
That's a show. I got to put the kids down, watch the Grammys, have a good night here. And I know we went long, but GP, this was a really notable weekend. So thanks for entertaining me and really just let me vamp a little bit here and there. And to everyone that watched, listened, hope you enjoyed it. February's here, folks. Come on now. We're 6 weeks away? Selection Sunday. It's going to be here before you know it.
Album of the year, unless they rob him. Album of the year, unless he gets robbed.
There it is. If anyone listening, he's got the vinyl. He's got the Kendrick vinyl right there.
Let's go watch the Grammys. Shouts to Devin Downey. Shouts to Chester, South Carolina. Shouts to Terry Teagle, legend. Huck, Larnell, thank you guys once again for watching, listening to the Eye on College Basketball Podcast. If you're not subscribed, please go subscribe anywhere you subscribe to podcasts, like Apple.
Blossoms. Hey, don't sleep on New Miserable Experience. Elite album did not win Album of the Year. In retrospect, maybe it should have.
Man, I never forget the day I saw in the Memphis Flyer that the Gin Blossoms were playing at the dog tracks over in West Memphis. And I was like, oh, man, what happened?
They still do their thing, man.
They
One
do
of my favorite records of the 90s, too. It's very, very good.
They do their thing.
Yeah.
If there's one thing I know about the Gin Blossoms and Amari Bailey's mom, they do their thing. They do their thing. If you're not subscribed, please go subscribe anywhere you subscribe to podcasts, Apple, Spotify. More of us than there are of them. That needs to be reflected in the comments. So do that. We'll talk to you again Tuesday, 1 o'clock Eastern, CBS Sports Network. Till then, take care.